Hello, and thank you for joining me as I introduce and discuss Waterloo Region Community Foundation's Racial Equity Fund. All the details about this funding, including when the application opens and closes, can be found on our website at the link below this video. But we wanted to share some of the highlights to help you if you are thinking about applying. Before I begin discussing this funding opportunity, I would like to take some time to do a territorial acknowledgement. The WRCF is situated on the lands within the Haldeman Treaty of 1784, a formally ratified agreement acknowledging 6 miles on either side of the Grand River as treaty territory belonging to 6 nations of the Grand River. The WRCF serves a region that is located within the traditional territories of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. This territory is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum. We acknowledge the enduring presence, knowledges, and philosophies of indigenous peoples. We acknowledge the continuing accomplishments and contributions indigenous peoples make in shaping Waterloo Region. We are committed to understanding the impact of settler colonialism on the indigenous experience in order to vision and co-create collaborative and respectful paths. WRCF recognizes and is committed to racialized communities in the Waterloo region who are being disproportionately affected by inequities. As one component of our commitment to advance racial equity, WRCF has launched the Racial Equity Fund to support organizations that are led by and serve people across Waterloo region who are Indigenous, Black, and people of color. In this video, I will discuss 6 things: the overview of the funding, who can apply, when you can apply, and how much is available. We'll also be discussing the priorities and focus of this funding, how we link our funding to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, as well as the intersectionality with affordable housing. We'll also talk about alternative options to apply for this funding. WRCF is committed to using our resources to advance racial equity in our community. As one component of that work, the WRCF launched the Racial Equity Fund in 2020 to support organizations that are led by and serve people across the Waterloo region who are Indigenous, Black, and people of color. Approximately $350,000 will be distributed through the fund in 2022, of which $125,000 is being provided through a partnership with the Ashley Family Foundation towards initiatives that support youths, that is, children between the ages of 12 to 24 years old. Additional contributions from several WRCF fund holders and donors have increased the total available. The funds are intended to assist those most impacted by the ongoing and systemic racial disparities that exist in our community. Decisions for this fund are made by a committee of volunteer committee members who self-identify as Indigenous, Black, or as a person of color. They have developed the funding guidelines, application, and evaluation, and will also review applications and determine funding recipients and allocations. Now you may be wondering, who can apply? This funding is specifically for organizations that are Indigenous-led, Black-led, or led by a person of color, serving one or more communities in the Waterloo region who have and continue to be impacted by racial inequities. Organizations doing work in support of a community or communities that have been impacted by racial inequities, if the project or initiative that will be receiving the funding is led by an individual or individuals who are Indigenous, Black, or a person of color. These applications will be prioritized lower in our review process because we believe leadership is a very important component of advancing racial equity in our community. There are 3 types of organizations that can apply for funding. The first is a registered charitable organization or qualified donee under CRA guidelines. The second is a not-for-profit organization through a partnership with a fiscal partner. And the third is a grassroots group who does not have a fiscal partner, but will partner with WRCF directly. If this is you, Please apply and I will reach out to you to discuss further. Applications for this fund open on the 2nd of August and will close on the 15th day of September at 5 p.m. Like I mentioned before, there is approximately $350,000 available in funding. You may apply for funding for up to $20,000 in your application. Approved applicants may use up to 30% of the funds towards general operating expenses. So in other words, 30% can be used to pay things like hydro or rent bills or towards payroll of your organization. The priorities and focus of this funding is set as follows. The committee will be giving priority to applications that work with people that you are seeking to serve. For example, how were their voices included in the decision-making or delivery of this initiative? The committee also wants to see clearly how racialized members of our community will benefit from this funding and how they will be supported. Something you may want to consider is whether this funding is being directed to specific neighborhoods in our community that are not commonly supported. Also, will the impact of the project or initiative be supporting the people most affected by the ongoing racial disparities in our community? Finally, there are funds that are specifically designated to support youth initiatives in your local community. So consider those types of projects if they are applicable to your organization. The WRCF is trying to understand how our funding directly relates to the Sustainable Development Goals. We will be asking you in the application which SDG is primarily associated with your initiative and whether there are any secondary SDGs associated. To learn more about the SDGs, we have provided a link in the application as well as provided further information on the Racial Equity Fund page on our website. We are also interested in knowing if and how the funding to your application intersects with affordable housing. It could be after-school projects to support children and youths to live in subsidized housing, or programs that bring the community together to create a sense of belonging. Essentially, any way this funding can support an individual who lives with low income or in subsidized housing, we will be very interested to learn about it. Please note that your responses to these two questions will not be a factor in the review and potential funding of an application. The last thing I would like to talk about is a new way we are accepting applications this year. If writing out your answers is challenging for you or if you would prefer to talk it out, you may reach out to me and we can set up a time for a Zoom call. I will record your answers and later I will transcribe them onto the application. If this interests you, please reach out to me no later than 5 p.m. on the 5th of September 2022 to set up a time for us to do this before the application closes. For more information and examples of what could be funded through the Racial Equity Fund, please visit our website and look at the funding guidelines. Thank you for watching our video. We are looking forward to your applications.